Well, it's been a few months since I actually did any sort of beer review, so I, wanted to get back into it. I enjoyed doing it. It's been a while. I was inspired by wanting to do it again after doing the couple of videos with the brew review crew, and I'm getting ready to ring in the new year. Happy New Year to everybody. And every time around New Year's, it's a time of reflection, renewal, cleansing, if you will. So with that in mind, I'm doing the Stochasticity projects. They call it Grainiac, but if you look at it, we all know what it is. It's colon blow. So far be it a little bit of a difference for something that Stone has done, because obviously their bread and butter are their big, massive, hoppy beers. Of course, they do some really good stouts and stuff, especially like Woot Stout and whatnot. But I mean, hops are their bread and butter. So it's kind of cool to see them do a complete 180 on this and go with something that's crazy as far as the amounts of grain that they put in a beer. Now, that's not to say that this isn't something that is light on the hops. Far from it. It is classified. They classify it as a multi-grain amber ale. So multi-grain, that's the buzzword you see on a lot of, I think of cereals and breads and stuff like that. So makes sense because of everything that's in this. But it's 8.5%. It's 60 IBUs, so it's still not exactly light for it's still within that realm of what Stone normally does anyway. But they do use Columbus, Chinook, Cascade, Centennial, crowd favorites. You can't really go wrong with using that group of hops in any type of beer. So still going to be hoppy, I would imagine. When you look at the back of the bottle, it besides all the description and you've always got long paragraph here, the malt varieties. This is where it really comes into play, because most of the time you think of two-row pale. That's in every major beer, obviously. But then they have white wheat, malted millet, malted buckwheat, Cara rye, golden naked oats, and triticale. That's a different one. So lots and lots of different grains in this one. So I get the reference. If you ever watch Saturday Night Live, the colon blow, they did a bit on that. Absolutely hilarious. So I totally get the reference. It makes a lot of sense with the amount of grain that they put into this. But great, it's a good variety of grain. So let's see how it actually does. Pouring it in, it's definitely an amber in every sense of the word. It's not very, it's definitely got that ruby red amberish type of color. It's not, it's I wouldn't say it's hazy, but it's thick enough that you can't see through it. It's got a little bit of a color at the bottom once you get towards the bottom of the glass. But besides that, it's just a good ruby reddish type of color. It had about a finger and a half when I first poured this, just letting it warm up a little bit because it actually was kind of cool. But really nice, kind of a regular, nice khaki kind of foamy head on it. So we'll get the aroma on it. Clean hops. Really that's about it. I know they're going for, this, malt bomb, if you will. But the hops still play a key factor in this nonetheless. So nice, clean, citrusy, kind of piney, whatnot, very general. Nothing I'm picking up one major hop over another, which makes sense. So, cheers. Oh yeah, still incredibly hoppy. With 60 IBUs, I'm not surprised at all. You definitely pick up some spiciness from the rye. Makes a lot of sense. I'm not, with some of these like malted buckwheat and millet and the triticale, I know I'm probably butchering that. I'm not exactly sure what those are going to lend to this as far as a, type of, what type of malty sweetness, flavors, spiciness, whatnot. You've obviously got just good general sweetness. You've got a good body to it as well. It's a decent body, which makes sense with the grain bill that they have on this, I would imagine, because some of these are flaked. That tends to give me I pick up a little bit more richness with it. but you can definitely tell that there's a spice characteristic that you get from a rye type of beer, but the hops themselves do also kind of kick into it as well. I mean, for me, if you were to have a beer called Grainiac, or Colon Blow, if you will, I would have expected maybe a little bit downplay on the hops and more malt forward of a beer. This still is a very, stone hoppy type of beer. It's not a bad beer, but when you're labeling it as a multi-grain amber ale, I'm expecting malty sweetness, big, complexities on the malt. But Columbus, Cascade, Chinook, Centennial, those are still very much in play in this beer, more so than I would have expected or maybe would have liked to in a beer like this. But regardless, it's still not a bad beer. It's not, I guess, maybe a little bit of false advertising, if you will, from what I was expecting. Kind of going still with the BBA kind of rating scale. I mean, I would still give this a solid 7. It's a good beer. It's definitely worth taking a look at and trying to find if you're able to find it. Definitely, because Stone makes a lot of crazy, wild, different beers, so it's definitely worth trying it out. If for anything else, just to say, yeah, I actually tried this and I enjoyed it, or it sucked, or whatever. Like I said, I would have hoped for a little bit less on the hops, I guess, for me personally. But like I said, I've enjoyed it nonetheless. So definitely look forward to making some more videos. Have the nice little backdrop. If you guys haven't noticed, I've got a lot of space on there, so trying to fill in central part of the country, that's a bit hard when you're out here in West Virginia. So doing my best, but I look forward to posting some more reviews and seeing you guys here later. Cheers, everybody.